Sorry about that, everybody. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but as you can see, that worked out. So tonight, I want to talk about finding yourself after a traumatic experience. Like for me, I just got doing my seventh bid in prison, and the judge decided to sit me down for 5 years because I just didn't want to get my mind right. I didn't want to live right. I didn't know how to live. I was highly addicted to drugs, and my life was just really unmanageable and out of control. And it even got to a point where I didn't want to live anymore. So, today it's different. Myself, I love my life, and I like where my life is starting to go at this point. And it took me a long time to get here and to find inner peace. And I've had a lot of traumatic experiences over the years, living in the streets, becoming homeless time and time again, being stabbed in the face, shot, robbed numerous occasions at gunpoint, and kidnapped even. And when I was younger, a lot of bad things happened too, but I'm not going to go into that right yet. But I just want to let you guys know that there is a way to come back from this stuff. And for the longest, I didn't think there was. All I saw darkness, you know what I mean? I carried around hatred in my heart. And I guess that's why I wanted to escape reality so much and use drugs constantly. And it's not easy, this process of life and living and learning how to live again. But you got to understand one key factor in all this. A majority of this stuff is self-created. You know, we've lived through horrors. We've gone down dark rabbit holes. And we've done really bad things to ourselves and to others. But at the end of the day, we were the ones that made that decision. I first need you to realize that, and we can move forward. Nobody forced me to live the way I was living. Nobody forced me to become drug addicted. I chose to go down that dark path. And that's where it led me. 7 prison bids later, multiple stints in rehab, uncountable times in the county jail, even juvenile justice as a child. And for the longest, I wanted to blame people and circumstance and upbringing, all the shit that I've gone through, just even growing up. But at the end of the day, I had my fair hand in all of this. It's not easy. None of this is going to be easy. Life is not easy. But how I managed to find peace is I realized that the person I was looking at in the mirror every day was the person that I needed to face. I had created my own demons. I had created all these horrors that I had lived through. So I had to find a way to heal because the shit that the therapists were saying wasn't making sense. It wasn't helping. Um, I had to find something else that's bigger than me, bigger than my stupid, useless ego. you know, in order to escape my reality, I had created a false one where I was this big shot drug dealer, um, living fast, chasing fast girls, robbing people, stealing from people, when all I was doing was robbing myself and stealing from my future and stealing from my peace. And, it took me getting put in close management, with solitary confinement for dummies. And I was in that room for 3 years with just myself. I did a lot of thinking. And at the end of the day, when I finally decided to face my biggest demon, me, I realized that it's nobody's fault. You know what I mean? Life happens. Sometimes you get dealt this great hand, right? And you live a beautiful life. You have all your heart's desires. You have everything given to you on a silver platter. Or like me, and you get dealt this shitty hand that's filled full of horrors, mistakes, heartbreak, broken promises, people who you loved walking out on you because they can't see you destroy yourself anymore as a human being. And that stuff takes a piece of you every time it happens. And I thought, my soul was so dark and so full of anger and malice and self-loathing that I just couldn't come back from it. I remember at one point in time I was begging God, please just take me away. I'm done. I'm done with this life. I'm done with the act of living because it's not living. It wasn't living to me. I was just waiting to die, hoping and praying to die because I wanted to see what was next because it had to be better than this, right? Until I finally caught a glimpse of what next looks like. I would overdose all the time in my drug addiction. I'd be out there and running the streets getting high, and I would just wake up all these random places, not realizing that I had overdosed. And then one day, it really happened. Like, I was done. I remember it just felt like this big pressure was finally just lifted off me, I felt this instant freedom from all the hopelessness, all the pain, all the sorrow, all the heartache, all the crazy shit that was going on in my life. And I remember looking down. It felt like I was just rising. And I was seeing myself choked to death on my own vomit on the forest floor in the middle of the woods where I'd sat and decided to get high. I just realized it's over. I finally did it. I'm dead. And I realized then that I did not want to die. That wasn't my desire. I wanted to learn how to live. And that the way I'd been going wasn't living. I was torturing myself, injecting drugs into my body every day, you know, doing bad shit to people and having bad shit done to me because of my actions. As much as I would like to blame other people for all the pain and the bullshit, at the end of the day, it was me. I just remember I just kept, God, please, just another chance. Let me just prove that I can do something right and righteous in my life. Use me to help save somebody from going through all the shit that I've gone through. If I can just do that, my life will be fulfilling. And then it felt like the bottom dropped out. I was back into my body on that forest floor, choking on my own throw up still. So when your blood stops running through your body, right, it settles to whatever side you're laying on. Your heart stops pumping blood. And that's how they check lividity. And it'll stain your skin purple. The whole left side of my body was stained purple for weeks afterwards. If that's not divine intervention, if that's not God showing me that there is a purpose for me to be living, then I don't know what is. So after I dragged my sorry tail out of those woods, washed myself off, cleaned myself up, I sat down in the middle of this park and I prayed. I said, God, please show me how to find peace. Because what I'm feeling right now is anything but. And it's funny, be careful what you ask for, right? A few days go by and I'm scared to touch anything except smoking some marijuana, right? Because I don't want to experience death again, because it really happened that time. I was gone, not supposed to be here, but I am supposed to be here now. And that's why I'm sharing my story with you guys. I'm hoping that maybe it'll help somebody find peace throughout their trauma. Because, a lot of times it takes hearing that somebody has lived through worse nightmares than we have, right? So I think one of the most traumatic things I ever went through was being kidnapped and molested when I was a child. And I hid those things from myself, you know what I mean? I didn't want to accept that they were part of my reality and that they had happened. So, until I finally decided to face those horrific moments in my life, I wasn't able to find peace. So, I finally went and decided to talk to somebody I could trust, with my secrets, with this pain that I had been carrying around inside my chest, in my heart, in my mind for all these years. And I said, hey, man, I'm going through a lot and I don't know what to do, man. It's really just killing me on the inside. And I've been carrying this stuff around with me for years. And it's bad, When I finally sat down with a perfect stranger, somebody I didn't know, and just told them about, the horrific shit that I'd been through, it was like this giant weight was lifted off my shoulders, man. You have to talk to somebody. You have to reach out and just get it off your chest. After losing father, my grandmother, multiple friends, that stuff stuck with me as well, losing people. Because you don't want these people to go, man. Like, some of the friendships we make in this lifetime are a very deep bond. Because, majority of times we go through life thinking that people don't get us as human beings, as individuals. And when these few people that finally do get us, we meet these people, we interact with them, we share memories, laughs, pain, all that, and we become connected with these people. It's something special, and something rare, something very hard to find these days. Because everybody's so caught up in the moment. They're not slowing down to enjoy life, to see the beauty that God puts in front of them, or to enjoy another person's company, because that person is actually interesting, not just entertaining, or what they can get out of that person. It's all, these days it's always take, take, take. There's no give, man. There's no love. The world that we're living in today, guys, is bad. People have lost their morals, their values, just the basic inner workings of humanity. So, like, I started waking up every morning, praying, and just being thankful for another day. I started writing down my thoughts, my ideas. I started writing down all the stuff that I had lived through, been through, experienced, that I thought was, making the hurt inside my heart and in my soul. And once I was able to put these things down on paper and then go through them, kind of, face them internally and externally, that was when I was able to finally start healing. Because I finally admitted to myself that this happened to me. But you know what? I made it through the other side. I'm still here. I'm still able to think, move, and be here with you fine people tonight, sharing my experience, strength, and hope. And then, I learned that not holding this stuff in and just dealing with things as they come, no longer holding resentments towards people when something happens and I don't like it. I learned to finally just let things go and just let things be. And I've come to understand that you can't change people. You can't change the way they think. You can't change the way they act, and you can't change the way they feel. The only thing you can do is show them a path. If they decide to take that path, then you've done something to help that person. But if they choose not to walk down the path that you have shown them, at least you have given them the opportunity. And you have to live with that and just let it be. Some people aren't ready to see things in a different light or in a different way. Some people want to stay stuck in their misery, stay stuck in their ways. They don't want to transcend to a higher platform of life or thinking or development. They want to stay stagnant and just wallow in guilt, hurt, shame, and the inner workings of that pain that just becoming normal well, nothing's normal these days, but semi-normal human beings. I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? But that's session one for tonight. You guys stay blessed out there, man. Stay focused. Know that God loves you. I love you. And love yourself because you're an important person. You're unique. And no matter what anybody says, you have power inside of you. You have ability. And you have focus. Use that focus to love yourself. And then you'll be able to love others. And then you'll find peace. Have a great evening, guys.